Hello, friends. This is Dr. Vijay. Welcome back to the podcast on health and wellness. And this week, we are going to talk about a very important topic and a burning issue around the world, that is about COVID. And as we all know, because of the COVID, there is a lot of awareness related to immunity and its effects. So, to discuss more on these topics, I have today invited one of my very close friends during my MBBS days, Dr. Dasarathi Gudivaka. He is pursuing his super specialty in the field of nephrology at Hyderabad, and he is almost treating COVID cases from day one from Hyderabad. And welcome to the podcast, Dr. Das.
Hi, hello. How are you doing, Vijay?
I'm doing good, Das. How are you? How is the
Yeah, I'm
situation
good.
at Hyderabad?
Yeah, I'm good, Vijay. Still, I'm not a COVID-19 immune passport holder, as recently my antibody testing was done and it was negative. So still my fingers are crossed.
Very good. I am not
So,
understanding whether I should say this is a good news or a bad news, actually.
so my take is it's good news
As
because so coming to your question, so situation in Hyderabad regarding this pandemic.
right.
So COVID cases are still peaking in Hyderabad. Plateau has not reached yet. But I'm saying this by just looking at our own hospital statistics.
Okay.
As in our hospital, COVID patients waiting list for admission is still in the increasing trend. But what I have noticed is the pace of increase is slowed relatively compared to the last 2 months. But this is not because we have reached the plateau. It may be because of effective triage system in the form of home care and increase in the availability of hospital beds and maybe increased recovery rate.
Right. Very well made out reasons, and actually this reason which you have told, one because of increased recovery rate and also increased hospital beds, this is actually a comforting news, though the patient gets diagnosed with someone gets diagnosed with COVID. Yeah, Doctor, that's like I want to know what is your experience with these COVID positive patients, because you have started treating them almost from day one of our lockdown or the day one of the first patient in Hyderabad. So how we have evolved as a professional doctor, how the treatments have evolved, and how patients' awareness has evolved. What is your take on this?
Okay, in my experience, while managing COVID patients, is same like everywhere. Patients with age more than 60 to 65, patients with comorbidities like diabetes, heart disease, kidney disease, liver disease, cancer patients, outcomes are bad. But more importantly, what I want to stress is patients who are coming to hospital late, outcomes are detrimental. So my take is early identification, early supportive care, outcomes are good. And importantly, time. Time is important factor in many ways. As with time passed by, our understanding with COVID-19 improved. And our management protocols are refined and relatively we are giving better care. With time availability, diagnostics have increased, which led to early identification and early treatment, in turn helping in early recovery. Again, with time, healthcare workers who have recovered from COVID-19 are coming forward and actively participating in providing effective patient care.
True.
And lastly, it is well that time dilutes everything. Same way, stress levels about this pandemic is reduced with time. So
this point is really true, right?
So I feel, so my experience says early identification, early care, outcomes will be good. And with time, things are changing. Recovery rate is increased, and the situation about this pandemic, the stress levels in the general public, including doctors, is coming down slowly with time. So their effectiveness in providing care, their effectiveness in understanding the situation has improved. So maybe my take on this is like time is very important factor, which has helped everyone a lot
Right, right. I totally agree with you actually. And actually, I think even this lockdown, which was introduced on March 24th, has also added
Yes,
a factor like this, like the way how you were telling about the time. This has
excellent.
actually given us a time.
It's an
Right,
excellent step by the government of India.
right, right. And so, Dr. Das, as you have mentioned about many factors which we came to know in this process of treating COVID, but there was one single point which the whole world was stressing about, that is immunity. So, what do you think is the actual role of it? And being a nephrologist, how can you relate it to certain kidney issues as well?
Yeah. So immunity, yeah, it's a generally used term now, not by only
Hmm.
doctors, patients, everyone,
Right.
including kids, including the elderly, every kith and kin in the universe is talking about this word immunity. It's good.
Hmm.
Okay, fine. Immunity is just the body's defense system, which is one side
Hmm.
of the coin, where when immune system functions optimally,
Hmm.
I'm stressing this word optimally. It
Hmm.
protects us from infections.
Hmm.
It promotes normal functioning of the body by repairing the damaged parts.
Right.
And
Hmm.
to some extent, it removes the abnormal cells, including the cancer cells.
Hmm.
But coming to the other side of the coin, it can harm in the way it can cause allergies, it can cause some autoimmune diseases. So, if it is not functioning optimally again.
Right. Right.
So
Hmm.
things which are needed to keep your immune system working in a good order, that means to work in optimal state, is having
Hmm.
a healthy lifestyle in the form of
Hmm.
having a balanced, good, nutritious diet, eat
Hmm.
enough to avoid deficiency,
Hmm.
and sticking to certain patterns of diet like calorie restriction, intermittent fasting. These two have tremendous effect on boosting the immunity
Okay. Hmm.
and controlling the excessive stress,
Hmm.
doing regular physical exercises,
Hmm.
adequate sleep. But
Okay.
main important factor is maintain correct timing. Again, time factor is important. See, so maintain correct timing of all this and correct dosages and sustain it, because this will reduce your physiological age, which is important for living quality
True.
life for long.
Right. Right. Hmm.
So, but to my understanding, more important than this immunity, the word homeostasis, which everyone needs to understand clearly, is more important.
All right.
So,
Hmm.
so little bit about homeostasis. As we live in the external environment, same way cells in the human body live in the internal environment called extracellular fluid.
True. Hmm.
So maintaining nearly constant external environment is good for us. Same
Hmm.
way, maintaining nearly constant internal environment is good for the cells. So this
Hmm.
maintenance of nearly constant internal environment is called homeostasis. And
Hmm.
important function of each and every system in the human body is to control this internal environment to create a homeostasis, that is balance between the systems in the human body.
Right. 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 Hmm.
So being a nephrologist who I can say like
Yes.
kidney is most important organ in maintaining
So,
homeostasis in the human
yes, yes.
body, but that is
I
not the
totally
only
agree.
organ.
Mm-hmm. No, even if you're not a nephrologist, also we need to agree on the fact that kidney is the major organ in maintaining the homeostasis. Hmm.
True, true. And
Yes.
coming to your second part of the question, so what is the link between immunity and the kidney?
Hmm.
So kidney as a major filter organ for the blood. So
Hmm.
besides clearing metabolic waste products,
Hmm.
toxins, drugs from the body, kidney also clears some circulating cytokines, which are
Hmm.
chemical messengers for these immune cells,
Hmm.
and bacterial toxins such as lipopolysaccharides. So
Hmm.
this way, by removing cytokines, by removing the bacterial products or some infectious products, I mean, not only
Hmm.
bacterial,
Hmm.
kidney contributes to homeostasis of immune system, because by removing cytokines, it can limit the inflammation, and by
True.
removing the infectious products, it can reduce
Mm.
innate immune activation. So this way, the balance of immune system which is dysregulated is again regulated by removing these wastes of the immune system, and the homeostasis of immune system is balanced by the vital organ, I mean kidney.
Right, right. No, this is really a very valid point and very well explained point, and the thing which you wanted to highlight about homeostasis is must and should actually.
Yeah.
I totally agree with that.
And coming to like immunity, effect of immunity on kidney, like, and as I said, optimal functioning immune system is good. So when I said it's when it is not optimally functioning, so that is called a dysregulated immune system. It can affect every other organ, including kidney. So how it affects kidney is in two different methods. Maybe directly it can have effect on kidney, or indirectly. So directly in the sense, direct immune cells, like what we call T cells or antibodies, which are released from the B cells. So these have direct effect, direct damaging effects on the kidney in the form of anti-GBM disease and all. And indirect renal effects is like, so these antibodies will form some complexes with some proteins in the blood, and the kidney being the major filter organ for the blood. So as it is a filter, the whatever products which are there inside the blood, that means there is immune cells and antibodies with the proteins attached, what we call as antigens. These will get lodged in the kidney because it's a filter there. As they are present in the blood, it's getting filtered at the kidney. So once the damage process might have started somewhere in the blood or some other tissue, but kidney being the filter organ of the blood, so these things will get clogged in this filter, and again activation of innate immune system in the form of activation of complement, or activation of innate immune system in the form of inflammation. So this way, after effects of this is damage to the kidney.
Kidney, right. Yes.
So dysregulated immune system can also damage kidney, including other organs. So whatever is the damage process, wherever it has started, so final outcome is kidney also will get affected.
True, right. Yeah, this is actually facing the brunt of whatever goes through in the body. The first thing which will be affected is the kidney, because that is the filter. Very well explained, Dr. Das. Yeah.
And actually, I had a small doubt regarding same word, immunity and homeostasis. So my question to you, Vijay, is you being the specialist doctor in the field of cancer, what do you say the role of homeostasis, immunity in preventing and curing the cancer?
This is a very nice question, actually, Das. See, it's like the way how you have told. There is a balance. Everything is balanced, like the external environment and even the internal environment which you are talking, and the body helps in maintaining the balance. But always in day-to-day life, in every person, there is always cells which are dividing on their own multiple number of times throughout the day. New cells will be forming, old cells will be shut down. So, but when there is a balance, so the person is normal. When there is an imbalance in any of these, if there is overproduction or if there is less destruction, then definitely the balance would be shifted to on either one side, and there would be no balance. So whenever there is a growth which is happening with no proper control over it, then a new growth would be formed, which we term it as a tumor, which may slowly progress towards cancer. So the role of immunity in maintaining the balance is usually this. Usually, whenever there are few cells which are escaping this normal mechanism of production as well as destruction, if such kind of cells are there, normal immune mechanisms will definitely identify that, target that, and definitely kill that. But in certain scenarios, these immune cells, normal human immunity, would go blind over that particular cell which is not under the control of the human body, which is actually skipping away or going towards the malignancy. So that is the reason why cancers are being formed, because a lot of molecular level studies are going on in cancer, and this is the final thing which they have told as of now. So there are certain cells which are skipping the normal human immune mechanism and going towards cancer. And this
Okay.
actually has formed the basis of treatment also in certain cancers, like in lung cancer and renal cancer, where immunotherapy has got a role. So this
Okay.
is how I think immunity, homeostasis, and cancer can be linked.
Final take after this is immunity and homeostasis. So, understanding a little bit about immunity and homeostasis, what our take is, homeostasis being the causal effect of any disease
Right.
for that matter, and activation of immune system and functionality of the immune system is what we see and what we look in biochemical tests, and what we aim in treating. Okay.
Right.
And coming to the final effect of it is the damage to the system, certain organ system, or damage to the entire human body, and it can cause in the way like kidney issues, it can cause in a way like heart issues, it can cause in a way like liver and brain issues, and
Right.
it can even cause malignancies, and
Mm.
finally it can cause death. So
Right. Right.
causal being the homeostasis. So our main intention of any specialty doctor is maintenance of the homeostasis along with our medicines which address or which aim in maintaining the balance of the immune system.
Right. Right. Uh, this is very well made out point, Dr. Das. And as you have mentioned about the medicines, I have one question.
Yeah.
See, we generally tend to say don't take any random treatments. Meet a doctor and take certain prescribed medications only because it may impact the kidneys.
Yeah.
What's your take on it?
Random treatments, I think you mean in the form of alternative medicine like Ayurvedic, homeopathic,
Yeah.
or including allopathic maybe.
Allopathic,
So,
right? Mm.
so considering that any medicine for that matter, if it causes direct damage to the kidney, better to avoid.
Hmm.
But if it is compulsion, weigh the kidney risk versus the benefit for what you are taking, and strictly you have to monitor kidney functions. If at all it can cause damage, and you can start taking the medicine. But important point is it depends on three main factors, whether the drug in whatever form it is, Ayurvedic or allopathic, it can affect kidney or not, depends on three main factors. So what is your normal functionality, whether the kidney, what the patient who is going to take that medicine is having a normal functioning kidney, and what is the kidney reserve. As you age, reserve of every other organ system will decrease. So similarly, so any patient who is having age more than 50 when compared to the adolescent age of around 18 to 20, so this patient will have a decreased organ reserve, even though he is having a normal functionality when it comes to a biochemical tests.
Right.
But actual fact is he is not having the same functionality when he was he was at the age of 20. Now he is in the age of 60. So functionality has come down in the sense that his kidney reserve has come down.
Right.
Okay. And second factor what I want to stress is this, again, the word homeostasis, whether his body is in homeostasis or it is not in homeostasis. And the third point is what dose of the drug he is taking and how long he is taking. So considering these 3 points, so we can suggest to take if benefit with the drug is more than the risk.
Okay.
And important take home is any drug for that matter, they have to take under the expert guidance who is familiar with its usefulness and also its harmful side effects.
Right. So you mean to say, irrespective of whether it is an alternate treatment or whether it is allopathic treatment, the guidance should be there. It has to be properly guided.
Yes.
Right. And one more most important and easily asked question, Dr. Das, to any nephrologist, I think. See, people usually say take plenty of water early in the morning. Does it really have a role in keeping the kidneys healthy?
That is not the only mantra to keep your kidneys healthy.
Yeah, that
Okay.
is true.
But taking plenty of water is definitely is a very important and is considered as an essential nutrient.
Hmm.
So when comparing with this carbohydrate, fats, and proteins, water
Hmm.
is also important. But I said a word essential nutrient because meaning is like in body it is not synthesized enough to
Hmm.
meet the
Hmm.
demands of metabolism. So we
Right.
definitely have to supplement from outside.
Hmm.
So that's why it is considered as an essential nutrient. So when I said it is a nutrient, definitely it is needed for the normal growth and functioning of the body.
Fun. Hmm.
Okay, and it is not only kidney which is important, which is affected with water. All organs and tissues in body depends on water because our body itself is made of 60 to 65% of the water.
Hmm.
And as we are talking from last two questions, the homeostasis means maintaining the balance of the internal environment. And internal environment itself is nothing but a extracellular fluid. When I said
Hmm.
fluid, it's like almost 80% of the fluid is water again.
Hmm. Right.
So,
Right.
so in this sense, water has very important role in our body in helping maintain the homeostasis one way.
Hmm. Hmm.
And coming to the part of your question, taking water in the morning, yeah, definitely. Why? Because
Hmm.
when we sleep, that is the time where we won't take water, even though we
Right.
want to, because we
Right.
are sleeping. So that's the time period where we are dehydrated for long.
Okay.
So that's the
Hmm.
reason why we suggest like after getting up, you have to take water early in the morning because the body is dehydrated body. If you are taking any medicines, if you are taking any diet which causes inflammation or which medicine which has effect on kidney, so in dehydrated state, if you take, so side effects will be definitely as expected. And
Okay.
and one more important point is water should be taken if at all there are no restrictions. Like usually in our patients who is having kidney issues, so we restrict their water intake if it's a chronic kidney disease, depending
Right.
on their stage, what level they
Hmm.
have to take, depending on
Hmm.
their urine output. And
Hmm.
second thing, any patient who has heart disease with decompensation, where their heart is failed and unable to pump, or because of normal pumping with diastolic heart failure, so they are prone to develop edema. So
Hmm.
again, in those patients, we suggest we restrict their water intake. And third, patients are like patients who are having liver disease with decompensation, where the synthetic function of the liver has come down and they have low albumins, because of which again there is some edema, ascites. Again, we'll restrict water. So there are few areas where we definitely restrict their water intake. Other than
Hmm.
this, water is definitely good because it's an essential nutrient.
Yes, a very logical explanation actually. The answer is very nice. And at the same time, can we just conclude this answer by saying that if the kidney is healthy, taking water would keep it healthy. But if
Yeah,
kidney is not healthy, maybe restriction of water is required.
yeah. One small point. Taking
Right.
water. When we say taking water, I think we should be little precise in that term.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
taking water is like if you take, say, like any body with normal functioning kidneys. I mean kidneys,
Hmm.
two kidneys.
Hmm.
That patient can take up to 20 liters of water a day, because the
Oh,
capacity of
okay.
normal functioning kidney is like
Hmm.
it can excrete 20 liters. More than that, it will definitely alter the homeostasis imbalance.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. And one more important point here is how quick are you taking that 20 liters? It's like
Right.
it should be stretched over 24 hours.
Hmm. Hmm.
If you are taking that 20 liters, or like say like 10 liters at a gulp, or like within a fraction of 1 to 2 hours, normally
Hmm.
this happens when a radiologist suggests any patient for ultrasound scan. They will take, you drink plenty of water, you drink plenty of water. But that is not precisely told to the patient, you drink water, plenty of water in a time span of say 1 to 2 hours. But some patients
Hmm.
we have seen, they have taken
Hmm.
water like within a short span of half an hour, 2 to 3 liters.
Hmm. Hmm.
And these patients, they will turn up to sudden emergency, uh, our emergency. Then
Okay. Hmm.
in those patients, what we commonly see is they will be having this hyponatremia.
Oh, okay, okay.
So reason being, they will take this intake of water in a short span. More water in a short span will definitely
Right,
again alter your homeostasis. And again,
right.
as I said in the last question, the kidney reserve. So this
Mm,
type of sudden intake of water causing hyponatremia commonly we see in elderly patients because their kidney reserve has come down. So
mm,
definitely
mm,
they
mm,
cannot
mm.
tolerate a lot and lot of water in a short span.
Okay, okay.
So the quantity and time frame is important
Time
when you
frame
say
is,
to drink important to drink
yes, yes.
water and all.
Yeah, a very, very nice awareness point, Dr. Das. And final question, Dr. Das, I just want to know because a lot of issues going on with COVID, and we are hearing patients facing difficulties, particularly the chronic kidney patients who have to go through dialysis. Do you want to
Yeah.
give any particular message only targeting dialysis requiring patients?
Mm, yeah. So same age-old message. They have to
Hmm.
follow the important measures, like they have to maintain the distance, they have to maintain this hygiene ethic, and they have to wear mask, and they have to avoid these crowded places. But
Hmm.
when they are coming to hospital every now and then, because they are supposed to get their dialysis done weekly at least twice, or for few patients twice, so like they are coming to a high risk zone. So when
Hmm.
they are coming to high risk zone, they should never forget these hygiene measures, universal hygiene measures for this COVID. And importantly, as we talked about little bit of immunity and the measures how to maintain a good immune system, so they have to strictly follow them. Except one
Hmm.
part is hydration part, which they have to follow the advice of the nephrologist who what they suggest, like water quantity what they're supposed to take is limited. So other than that part, exercise, healthy diet, adequate sleep, they have to follow to maintain good balanced immune system. And second part is, as we rightly pointed out in our discussion, early identification of the symptoms. Once
Hmm.
they are done, early testing is important and early supportive treatment is very important. So whenever they feel something difference in their body, so they have to improve their observation skills, where they have to concentrate much on their bodily systems, how it's functioning, and what is the new symptom, what they are observing in their system. And immediately they have to point it out to the nephrologist who is treating them. And if it is fitting into the COVID symptoms, then immediately they should get the testing done. So early symptom identification is important. So we, being the doctors and our technicians, what we are guiding them is, every now and then we are educating the patients how to improve their observation skills. This way,
Okay.
we are educating the patients how to improve their observation skills, and we are educating the patients about the hygiene measures. We are educating the patient about the symptomatology of this COVID, and we are
Hmm.
highlighting every patient, saying early identification and early treatment outcomes are good. And so
Right.
far, in my experience in our hospital, we have got around 38 patients affected with COVID. In them, we have lost around, I think, 5 to 8 patients.
All these
And
were dialysis patients.
yeah, I'm talking about chronic maintenance hemodialysis patients only who
Wow.
come for regular outpatient dialysis. So,
Okay.
and
Hmm.
these 8 patients, among these 8, I feel 3 to 4 patients who have died is because of non-availability of the beds in the initial part of this pandemic in Hyderabad.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And my experience says,
Hmm.
even though as we are talking the role of kidney and the maintaining the balance of homeostasis of the immune system, what I am seeing here is our patients who are immunocompromised
Hmm.
are not having very bad outcomes. Reason being, the COVID patients are not dying because of the virus, as we all know, it's
Right.
because of the
Right.
cytokine storm.
Right. Right.
And being immunocompromised state, whether this cytokine storm is not too high, that's the reason why these patients are not having detrimental outcomes. I am not very sure. We need little more data about this, where
Right.
study should be conducted mainly in these maintenance hemodialysis patients, see what's the outcome and what is deciding why these patients are not having as expected detrimental outcomes when compared to the normal healthy population. So this is my own experience, but it may be true or it may be wrong. It all depends on so many other factors, because it's not only factor which decides, but my experience says that is also having some impact of their recovery, I guess.
Yes. I think this point which you have mentioned is a really nice point to create a lot of confidence in normal patients also, because till this time the norm was like, if you are elderly, if you have any chronic kidney issues, you are definitely going to succumb if you get the COVID, if you get the disease with COVID-19. But when you say that there are around 8 patients out of 38 is too good a number actually. Results outside were too bad in case of chronic kidney issues.
Yes.
It's really nice talking to you, Das, actually, and I'm very, very proud to say one thing, that you have really stuck to your basic things. You were telling me during MBBS also that basics are important, and till today, even today also, you are talking about those basics. And I just felt classes and medicine classes again.
I was just telling, like, we as a doctors, we are mainly concentrating on the pathophysiology, we say, but mainly we are concentrating on the pathology part of pathophysiology. So our treatment should include, our treatment should aim in bringing back the physiology. Anyhow, we are thriving for that, but when we are thriving for that, we are not concentrating on that.
Right.
So
it is required.
I think
it is a nice message for even the youngsters who are coming up with at MBBS level itself. They need to get their basics strong.
Yes.
Really nice talking to you, Das.
Thank you so much, Vijay.
Thank you so much for joining. So that's all, my friends, for this week. Next week again we'll meet with a very good topic. Till then, stay home, stay safe, and bye. Hello friends, this is Dr. Vijay. Welcome back to